Bruce Lee, the fighter, he once said, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. Or depending on who you tell these quotes to, you're going to have different responses. Like a pacifist is going to ask you, why are we practicing kicks? Why are we kicking each other? Violence is never the answer. Namaste. An American will probably ask you why are we practicing kicks when we can just shoot each other? And the creative has probably started trying to master all the 10,000 kicks. Okay, maybe the joke is half baked. But the main idea here is, as creatives, we often have this insatiable desire to want to be good at many things at the same time. So your typical creative is often involved in at least 3 different creative skills at the same time. And as cool as it may sound to play the piano while directing a blockbuster movie and doing therapy for Chris Brown simultaneously, the reality is we often end up being a jack of all trades, master of none. That's why we're often advised to just focus on one thing and sacrifice every other thing. But what if there was a way to pursue all your creative interests and actually be good at them? That's what I'm going to be talking to you about in today's video. Hello, I'm Emisi Olua. I like to think of creativity as the speed force. I'm sorry if you're not familiar with the Flash, but bear with me, it's going to make sense, I promise. So the speed force is what gives the speed stars the ability to run very fast. So Barry Allen, which is the Flash, is the same speed force that serves Wally West, Kid Flash. It's the same speed force that serves the Reverse Flash and every other speed star in Central City and beyond. In a similar manner, the creative force is what gives us creatives the ability to create stuff. Yeah, that's it. You see how the Flash illustration was absolutely necessary, right? Exactly. So it's the same creative energy that serves the artist, that serves the poet, that serves the musician, that serves the dancer, and insert any other creative. So it's almost inevitable that at some point in their creative journey, the artist will be interested in making music, the poet might be interested in doing art, the photographer might be interested in dancing or playing instruments, because expression is the essence of the creative force. So as creatives, we often feel this desire to want to express our creativity through different media. That's why we're usually interested in doing many things at the same time. Does that make any sense? If the Flash illustration doesn't get you there, think about it like crude oil. Now, crude oil is the raw material, and from crude oil we get all these derivatives like petrol, diesel, Vaseline or petroleum jelly, kerosene. Even though on the surface these things are different from each other, at their core they are still composed of the same raw material. That makes sense? The same way, it is actually easy for us creatives to navigate different creative fields because as creatives you already have access to the creative speed force. So the photographer, for instance, who wants to do music, even though you might not be able to sing like The Weeknd or rap like Drake, you'll probably be able to make good music if you tried because it is the same creative force. So you should totally go for it as a creative. You would actually be doing yourself a disservice if you don't explore other creative fields other than the one you are currently involved in, because you actually have the ability to do so. Now, our parents and advisors, they understand how difficult it might be to master just one skill, not to talk of 3 or 4 or 10, as the case may be. That's why they often advise us to stick to one thing and sacrifice every other thing. But with the way the world is moving these days, with the advent of artificial intelligence, AI, and the rise of a lot of people in the creative fields, I believe that now more than ever it is actually important, or it pays to be a multifaceted creative for a couple of reasons. Like, for instance, you have career resilience. Basically, it makes you better at problem solving because you're able to look at a particular issue through different lenses or different perspectives. And then it just makes you really cool and sophisticated. And that's important too. So how do we get good at more than one thing at a time? That's like the $1,000,000 question, right? So I'm going to be sharing with you what has worked for me in my own creative journey. And this actually started recently. All my life I've been going through the same struggle until sometime last year I was able to find a system that helped me achieve balance, and honestly it just keeps getting better every day. So I decided, let me share it with you or anybody who might be experiencing the same struggle in their creative journey. And for the sake of context, I am currently doing my master's in clinical psychology. I'm a visual artist. I do photography, videography, and I'm currently in my gym bro phase too. So I kind of have to like juggle all these things I'm involved in and find a balance and get better in all these things. And in my case, I already have some background knowledge in all these things. So I'm more focused on getting better as opposed to starting from scratch. But I believe the same principles work for people who are trying to start from scratch. Now, it's not a magic wand approach. It's not like Alikazam and you are suddenly good at these things. No, it definitely requires commitment and discipline, but it is a system that makes the process a lot easier and fun. So I'm going to approach it by following this threefold strategy. First off, I want clarity, then priority, and then focus. It may seem vague, I know. Let's break it down. Clarity. So first off, before you start going down your skill spiral, you actually have to have clarity on whatever it is that you want. Because a lot of the times, what you think you want is not what you want, is what society has made you believe that you want, or your parents or someone you look up to. But at its core, it might not be something you're really interested in. So clarity is actually important. And I do this by asking myself these questions, using this prompt. So ask myself, in the next 6 months to 1 year, I don't believe in like 5-year, 10-year goals. If you can see that far ahead, if you have Nostradamus, good for you. I personally can only see so far ahead, so I prefer to use like 6 months or 1 year. So in the next 6 months or 1 year, what would I be doing? No limits, remember. So it might be like I'm going to be rounding up my MSc. I have a certain number of videos on my YouTube. I'm able to draw end high from memory. I'm able to bench press 290 pounds. I featured Kanye West on my EP. This is not my list, by the way. Just saying, it doesn't have to adhere to any reality standards. Just write down whatever comes to mind. So just get a piece of paper and a pen and write down everything that pops up into your mind. Yes, now, do it now. So now you have your list of what you want to be able to do at the end of 1 year. So number 2, we're going to create a table, and your table is going to have 2 sections. On one hand, you have it's labeled career, and on the other hand, you have a label hobbies. So you're going to start slotting each of these your goals or what you want into either of these categories using the following criteria. For the career section, the basic question you want to ask is this getting me money, or would I like to earn from this particular thing? So if it is your fitness goal, for instance, if in the next 1 year you would like to be a fitness trainer and train people for money, then it should go into the career section. But if on the other hand you just want to stay fit because it relaxes you or whatever, but you're not looking to gain money from it, then it goes into the hobby section. Does that make sense? So for the career section, does it make me money, or would I like to make money from this? Now for the hobby section, you're asking questions like, do I love to do this, or would I love to do this? If I didn't have to tell anybody about this, like nobody knew I could do this thing, I'm not posting about it on my status or whatever, would I still do it? Does this thing serve any practical function in my life? Like, do I get relaxation? Does it clear my mind? Is it like a form of meditation for me? Does it help me to express myself better or understand myself better? If it fulfills this criteria, then it goes into the hobby section. So at the end, you should have a list of the things you would like to make money from, or the things you are currently earning from in your career section, and the other ones that you just like to do in your hobby section. Now, the next stage is priority. And what we're going to be doing here is we're going to create an hierarchy in each of the category in terms of their importance. So in your career list, for instance, the thing you might want the most is, I want to be a fitness trainer. You might want that more than wanting to earn money from your art, for instance. Let that go on top of the list, and the arts will be like maybe number 2 or number 3. So basically just arrange them in order of importance or priority. And a good way to know is, if at the end of the year I could only have access to one of these things, which one would I choose? That should be your number 1, and then every other thing can come after. And you do the same thing for your hobby list also. So at the end of your prioritization section, you have the number 1 on your career list, and then you have the number 1 on your hobby list. So now is the interesting part. And this is where it seems like, okay, I'm going to tilt a little bit in the direction of mainstream advice, which is to sacrifice, but you're not really sacrificing. Hear me out. So what you're going to be doing initially is number 1 on your priority list and number 1 on your hobby list. And here's how you're going to do it. Depending on the amount of time you have, you're going to allocate a certain amount of time on your career list, and then you're just going to cool off. When you're done with that, you're going to cool off with number 1 on your hobby list. So at the end of the day, You are juggling these two things simultaneously in a balanced manner just by dedicating a certain amount of time each day to it. And trust me, these things they compound. So even if it's 1 hour you can do on your career list and then 30 minutes on your hobby list, it is going to pile up, it's going to compound with time. Every day you get to practice two different things. It's not too hectic, it's not too chaotic, and then you are not narrowing yourself down to just one thing. Now, you also have to be very specific on what you are going to be doing during this time that you're allocating to each hobby. If for your career list you have fitness as number one, so maybe you want to do calisthenics every morning, you want to do 50 push-ups, you want to be very specific on what you're doing on a daily basis. And the same goes for your hobby list also. Is it you want to practice the guitar for 30 minutes, you want to practice scales, you want to practice chords? Just create a system that is specific on what you have to do. So when you get to that time, you're not just thinking about what should you do. You already know what you want to do beforehand, and you just do it and then go on with your day. And that's it. If you can foster the consistency and discipline to follow through, what you find out is on a daily basis, your list is going to become better and more precise. You might have to remove some things, you might have to add some things. But once you get the initial system running, the system is going to sort itself along the line. And then once you can master juggling two together, then you yourself intuitively, you are going to find out how to slot in something else. And what I recommend is, even if you are going to add something else, let it be something from your hobby list. For now, just focus primarily on one thing from your career list. And that's basically how I've been doing it. That's how it has worked for me. Now, because this is the system I currently use, and like I said, it has worked for me, I might be a little bit biased in my judgment of how easy it is to implement. But I promise you, it works. If you can get the system running, it works. Now, I go more in depth about this system I've created and how I actually implemented it in my personal life. So I talk about my list exactly and how I do it on a daily basis in this particular podcast episode, where I'm going to link in the description. So if you're interested in checking that out, feel free to. And also, I'm going to be here in the comments if you have any questions, you need clarity, maybe something I explained didn't quite make sense. Just let me know in the comment section. I'll be there to respond. And also, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot. And that's been it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.